yesterday, today being Thursday, DeAndre and I got involved in quite an interesting discussion on one of the videos. It was the video about creating servitors, thought forms. I'll link it above so you can actually read the thread. It did bring up something that I wanted to speak about though. If you watch my videos, you'll probably notice a theme running through them about balance, equilibrium, actually balancing the negative and positive energies. And it's not just in your practice, it's in your life, within your body, your health, everything really. It's very important to actually maintain that balance, bring it into your life for various reasons. And I wanted to discuss something that happened to me many years back. Well, I guess not that many years back, but a while back. Now, I am a third degree Usui Reiki master. And when I was still doing second degree, before I became third degree, obviously, there was a stage where I was pulling out negative energy from people. It all started with one guy that I used to work with in the offices I was working at. He came round for a Reiki session after work one day. And it was just normal Reiki session, and then I got to his feet and I had this urge to just draw all of the negative energy out of his body. And so I did this. It was instinctual and it just happened. So I pulled all this negative energy out of his body and then I released it. Quite frankly, it was exhilarating. There's something that happens when you do that there's a power to it that you just, it can actually very easily become extremely addictive. So I would definitely advise against it. But anyway, so I pulled all of this energy, all this negative energy out of him and finished the session, and he said, yeah, it felt absolutely fantastic. I mean, he's got no negative energy in him anymore. And then he actually told me the next day, 2 hours later, he'd driven home, but he stopped somewhere in between. And it was about 2 hours later, he got home and he said he just collapsed. He actually couldn't actually physically stand. Everything just drained out of him. And I was trying to figure out if I did something wrong, what the reason was and everything else. But anyway, so I carried on, and there were a couple of other people that I did Reiki treatments on, and similar things happened. I pulled negative energy out of them, all of the negative energy. I'm not just talking like a little bit. I'm not talking a spot on them. I'm not talking about just a little bit of negative energy pulling out of them. I'm talking about I was pulling out all of the negative energy out of their body. And after the treatment, they immediately felt great, and then a little while later, they felt absolutely terrible. Pain increased, whatever it was. And one of them actually, she had a migraine, and I said, let me try this and see if I can control it a little bit better. And I was actually drawing this energy out, and as I say, it feels powerful to do it. It exhilarates you. And I was just feeling better and better and better. And she was saying, you need to stop. And I eventually stopped myself. And she said it felt like she was having a heart attack. Her heart started beating fast, and then it was becoming quite painful. So I stopped Reiki. I stopped healing altogether at that stage. I knew something was wrong. I knew I needed to actually look into this and figure out what the hell was going on. So I went back to my Reiki master, my teacher, explained everything, and she said, okay, well, let's explore it and see what it's about. So I gave her a session. And she felt great. And then every single little cut on her body, she had a mosquito bite, she had a small cut in her ear, became septic. And the one in her ear actually became really bad. She eventually ended up at the doctor, almost ended up in hospital. But it was just weird. I couldn't figure this out. Eventually we came to the conclusion that, well, I mean, I suppose it's not really a conclusion, it's quite obvious really. If you draw all of the negative energy out of something, it needs to find balance again. It needs that balance of positive and negative energy. So by drawing all out, the system reacts, and all of a sudden it needs to pull all this negative energy back in again, and that's what was happening. You can sort of think of it, if you've got like a U-shaped, a huge U-shaped tube. I mean, you could do this with a straw, but you're not going to see it as well. But let's say you've got a big U-shaped pipe. What did I say just now? Anyway, got a big U-shaped pipe, and you put water in the one side, and the water will flow down, and then the level will, on either side, will level out. Okay. Then what you do, you force air into the top of one of the sides. And what it's going to do is going to push the water, and it's going to do this. So the level of the water is going to change because you're pushing this air in, okay? Then all of a sudden you remove that pressure, and the levels will again come back to normal, level, equilibrium, correct? But what's going to happen is, if you suddenly remove that air, that pressure, that force, it's not just going to slowly come back to equilibrium, it's going to do this until it actually finds its equilibrium. And it's quite similar. So if you pull all of the negative energy out of a body, it's all of a sudden going to push all of this negative energy back in again and try and find this equilibrium, this balance. And during that process, the effects can be quite severe. So this is why I say you need to find balance. There needs to be a balance of negative and positive. If you go to the extreme of one or the other, you're going to go out of balance, and things are just going to go haywire, and they're going to go wrong. For me, personally, I think it's extremely important. And this also brings up the fact that, that I'm a healer. And something as I say, I did stop it for a long time, but it's something I've been trying to get back into. So I think I'll probably bring some kind of healing-related, energy healing-related topics into my videos in the future as well. So it's just another part of the parcel, I suppose. You know, they always say when you start doing a YouTube channel, you should niche down. I think I'm niching up. I'm just adding more and more topics. But anyway, that's what I wanted to talk about, and I think it's very important, and that's why I actually wanted to make this video. And as I say, go and check out the comments in that video, the comment thread, because it's very interesting and very enlightening, and it might actually help a couple people. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.